Prolotherapy addresses the most overlooked cause of back pain, neck pain, and joint pain, which is that the support structures of the spine and joints, they're called ligaments and tendons, they get loose. And for a little background, ligaments attach bone to bone, and tendons attach muscle to bone. So to illustrate this on this model, your backbones are here. Your gray things are the discs in between. The yellow here is your spinal cord, and this is the back of your spine. So these are the bumps you feel when you run your finger down your center of your spine. And off to the side are these joints. They're called facet joints, and that's what allows your spine to bend forward and bend back. Now what I'd like to do is go to a slide presentation to show you more detail. So what does a spine do? It's a series of blocks that are stacked on top of each other. So here are the blocks. And then the gray things are the discs, and they're in between. They're your shock absorbers. And then here's the back part of the spine. And those black circles come down, and those are over your facet joints. And the yellow is your spinal cord. And so that's what the whole system looks like all put together. But there's a problem that if we're just made of bone, then we're in trouble. We'll fall apart. Because just like when you build a brick wall, you got to have mortar. You got to have things holding these bones together. And so what we have doing that for us are ligaments and muscles. Ligaments are the main thing that hold you together. They're like duct tape, and they're short, they're thick, they got a little bit of give to them, and you have them all over your body. In your spine, you have a ligament that runs up the front of your spine, one in the middle, and then more in the back. And what those ligaments do is they tie each bone into its neighbor bone, and you create one large functional unit. So then as you're bending and moving and shifting, all these bones bend equally. Your backup system are your muscles, and they are in the back of your spine as well as your abdominal area for your core muscles, and those play a critical role in keeping your spine together as well. Here's the model again of your spine, and when we get older, these discs get flat, and that causes these bones to get close together, and when they do, those ligaments get loose, as I said. And when that happens, these bones are prone to start shifting like this. And that's called listhesis. And the answer for that is a spinal fusion, usually. And what that means is we're putting a rod and screws between these bones here to hold these bones together. And that will accomplish the goal of fusing those bones together. The problem with the lumbar fusion then is that this bone has to bend more for you to bend forward, and to twist and to lean and to get in your car and look left and right into traffic as you're driving. And then these levels break down faster. And then if you live long enough, then these levels get fused together as well. And so the purpose of the prolotherapy is to strengthen these ligaments around these areas. And I mentioned before that you have these two systems in your body. One are ligaments and one are tendons and muscles. And they're in this balance throughout your life, but your ligaments are more important. And as you age, your ligaments get loose. And they also get loose with pregnancy in women, with falls, with car accidents, with surgery even. And when these ligaments get loose, there's nothing typical we can do to make them strong again. You can't eat right, you can't get steroid shots, surgery won't do it, yoga and Pilates and PT won't do it. But a lot of times we'll send you to physical therapy or yoga not to influence these because we really can't. We're doing those measures to try to make your muscles a little bit more efficient, to kind of close that gap. Knowing that we can't flip the script and we can't raise your muscles this high because your ligaments are always the ceiling. And so what then happens is when your ligaments are loose, your muscles then try to compensate a little bit, but they're so inefficient at doing that because muscles are supposed to be intermittently tight and loose. Remember, each muscle in the body has an opposite muscle that does the opposite task. So when one muscle is working, one muscle is loafing. And when your ligaments get loose, then all your muscles try to work together in a very inefficient way. And they start getting knots in them and spasms, and they get very tight. And that carries throughout the day. And so for back pain, for example, which is the most common reason that we do prolotherapy in people, is that when they go to bed at night, your muscles can finally relax, and so you get some pain relief. And then as you're sleeping, you roll over at night, and when you roll over, because your muscles are off duty, you can have pain. It can wake you up at night. And then when people get up in the morning with back pain and these issues, they have to sit on the edge of the bed for a few minutes, or they stand up and have to grab the walls or the door frame to hold themselves steady while their muscles get activated to try to help support the spine. And then they do pretty well until about midday, and then the muscles have had it, and then the second half of the day can be very hard because then you start getting spasms and a lot of back pain. And so that's kind of the typical 24-hour cycle for people that we see with that. And these procedures do a great job helping try to shore up those ligaments and tendons so the bones can be in proper relation to each other. And it really doesn't matter if it's the lower back or neck, could be the knee joint, could be the shoulder joint as well. The same things are going on, that you've got bones that have to be lined up together. And when they're not lined up, no matter what you do, you're not really going to be able to achieve the best outcome because you haven't addressed the structural issues. And that's what prolotherapy does. Typically we do that with platelets and human growth hormone. It's a very well tolerated procedure. The back procedures are probably the most common ones we do. They are the easiest ones to have done, the easiest recovery. And the recovery is really not that bad. The procedures have lots of numbing medicine in it. We give people some mild sedatives if they like that, some pain medication. But you're awake for the whole procedure. You're talking to me about whatever you want to talk about. Sometimes we talk about sports, sometimes travel, sometimes kids. So it's really not a terrible thing to have done. It's nothing that you should be scared of having done because you make it very tolerable for you.